grew up in Bristol for, my whole life. Went to Bristol Central High School.
The Huskies' big man Donovan Clingan means more to UConn than just being a 7'2" force of nature. He's a homegrown talent, undeniably Mr. Connecticut.
Starts left up the screen by Clingan. He goes alley-oop by Clingan, crushes it. Oh, that was a beauty. Rebound by Clingan. He put it in. Oh, what a play.
Up top to Clingan.
What a move.
Clingan said no.
Clingan has been a monster.
Donovan Clingan has been the catalyst to UConn's historic run this past year. His ability to score in the paint, rebound on both ends, and protect the rim has been critical for UConn's success. He looks like he's going to be a certified lottery pick in this year's draft, and scouts have been saying that his draft stock is climbing due to his performance in March Madness. But with all the hype that Donovan Clingan is getting now, will he be able to dominate at the next level? Does he fit the mold of a modern-day NBA center, although being viewed as more of a traditional big man? We'll get into all of it, but let's first understand and discuss Donovan Clingan's rise to stardom and how he became a star at UConn. Donovan Clingan grew up in Bristol, Connecticut, and played his high school basketball at Bristol Central High School. And in high school, he put up some crazy stats, numbers that really had people mind blown. In his junior year, he averaged 27.3 points, 17.2 rebounds, and 5.8 blocks in his junior year. He led his high school to a perfect 15-0 record and a conference championship. He probably would have won the state championship as well, but it was canceled due to COVID. Clingan also won the state of Connecticut's Player of the Year as a junior. And after his insane junior season, his stats were actually even crazier in his senior season. He averaged 30.3 points, 18.4 rebounds, and 6.3 blocks per game. He led his high school to a perfect 28-0 and a state championship in his senior season. He was literally putting up prime Shaq stat lines in high school, being a dominant paint presence that simply could not be stopped at the high school level. And although his stats and winning pedigree were undeniable, some people had their doubts, as Connecticut public school basketball was not nearly the most competitive competition in the country. Regardless, Clingan still dominated and won the State Player of the Year back-to-back years, a feat that NBA players Chris Dunn and Andre Drummond couldn't even do. He ended up being ranked as the 56th best player in the country by ESPN and was given a 4-star rating. After holding offers from Ohio State, Michigan, and 16 other Division I programs, he would eventually stay home and sign with the University of Connecticut. Clingan was the crown jewel of UConn's 2022 recruiting class, being the only recruit ranked in the top 100, but he entered his freshman year as the backup center to Adama Sanogo. Coming off the bench, he only averaged 13 minutes per game. Although his minutes were limited, he managed to have a solid role as a paint defender and rebounder. He averaged just under 7 points and 5.6 rebounds, while shooting 65% from the field in 39 games. His numbers were okay for a freshman, but he never got his chance to break out, with such limited minutes being behind Sanogo. UConn made March Madness as a 4 seed in the 2023 NCAA tournament and cruised to a national championship. Clingan had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block in the national championship. He was also named to the Big East All-Freshman team. Clingan could have entered the 2023 draft and probably gotten drafted in the mid to late second round. But he decided to remain in college for his sophomore year, and truthfully, his decision to stay completely changed his trajectory as an NBA-level talent, because he is having a great sophomore season. But before we get into Clingan's sophomore year, I wanted to shout out today's video sponsor, OddsJam. OddsJam is the best data-driven sports betting software around, with over 260 sportsbooks tracked in real time. OddsJam will make you a long-term profitable sports bettor, similar to the techniques used by investors and traders to beat the market. Now, how is this all possible, you may ask? The OddsJam arbitrage tool. This tool is used to identify inefficiencies and discrepancies in sports betting lines across the entire market, so you can always get the best value on your picks. The tool will even give you arbitrage betting opportunities that make you risk-free money by identifying those discrepancies for you. The tool will find discrepancies so wide that you can bet on both sides of the market and guarantee yourself a profit. Aside from all of the value you're getting from just the arbitrage tool, OddsJam even has a positive EV calculator that helps you make optimal bet sizes for your specific bankroll, and a bet tracker that will sync your bets across all of your sportsbook accounts to track your daily, weekly, or monthly profit for you. OddsJam gives you a much more strategic and responsible way to bet, making you more profitable in the long run. They even offer a 7-day free trial because they know their product works. If you want to give them a try, use code HoopDungeon for 35% off your first month using the link below. Clingan's sophomore year was a chance for him to step up into the starting center role and show the world what he was capable of with the right opportunity. UConn didn't just lose Sanogo to the NBA draft, but they lost 2 more key players from their 2023 championship team as well. Jordan Hawkins was drafted by the Pelicans with the 14th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft, and Andre Jackson Jr. was drafted by the Bucks with the 36th overall pick in the same draft. With losing 3 of their starters to the NBA from their championship season, UConn had a lot to prove in their quest to repeat. And Clingan had big shoes to fill with Sanogo's departure. But this season, Clingan has been everything and more for this UConn team, and has stepped up in a huge way in his sophomore season. He increased all his stats across the board, as he has averaged 12.9 points, 7.5 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, and 1.5 assists per game this season, while shooting 64.3% from the field. The numbers might not jump out at you like his high school days, but he is the pivotal defensive anchor on this UConn team. And truthfully, with the way UConn has been so dominant this year, they have so many scorers and playmakers that he doesn't need to carry the load on offense. And while Clingan showed a lot of improvement this past regular season, he has shown his true value in the biggest moments. In the Big East Championship against Marquette, Clingan had 22 points, 16 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Coming off that great performance in the Big East Championship and the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, Clingan was determined to build on his hot stretch from the Big East tournament and bring it right into March Madness. And sure enough, Clingan came into March Madness red hot and dominated right from the jump. In the round of 64 matchup against Stetson, he had 19 points and 8 rebounds while shooting 81% from the field in a 91-52 win. In the round of 32 matchup against Northwestern, he had 14 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 blocks in a 75-58 win. In the Sweet 16 matchup against San Diego State, a rematch of last year's final, he had 8 points and 8 rebounds, but only played for 23 minutes as UConn dominated in an 82-52 win. And in the Elite 8 matchup against Illinois, he really put everyone on notice. He had 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks in just 22 minutes. And in this game, UConn went on an insane 30-0 run and managed to win by 25 points. UConn has shown no sign of slowing down and has absolutely dominated the tournament thus far. Up to this point, heading into the Final Four, they've won every game in the tournament by double digits, and even won 3 of the 4 games by 25 points or more. When Coach Dan Hurley was asked about his team's dominance, he said,
we suck at winning close games, so, you got to go with the alternative.
NBA scouts have taken notice of UConn's dominance, as freshman guard Stephon Castle is rising in draft talks, along with Tristan Newton and Alex Caravan, who have been intricate pieces to the team's success. But the player who has gotten the most draft buzz from this UConn run has been Clingan. In fact, Jonathan Givony, who is one of ESPN's top NBA draft analysts, claimed that Clingan could be in talks with Alex Sarr to be the #1 overall pick in 2024. Givony had Clingan as high as the 3rd overall pick in his most recent mock draft. Another super interesting aspect about Clingan that we can look forward to is his potential matchup against Purdue's Zach Edey if both UConn and Purdue make the championship. But first, Purdue does have to take care of business against DJ Burns and the red-hot NC State Wolfpack, which is no guarantee, as NC State has been on one of the most historic March Madness runs in a long time. Anyway, it's not often that Clingan will face a big man bigger than himself at the college level, but he has the chance to potentially face Zach Edey in a championship environment, which will have scouts eyeing that matchup very closely. Edey has been an absolute force to be reckoned with in this tournament. Edey has averaged 30 points and 16 rebounds this March Madness, and is coming off an insane 40-point, 16-rebound game against Tennessee in the Elite Eight. This potential matchup can be huge for both Clingan and Edey to showcase their talent ahead of the 2024 NBA Draft. And if you want to learn more about Zach Edey, our video will be linked at the end of this video. But instead of thinking more on a hypothetical scenario, let's take what we've seen from Clingan so far and analyze how he will be as an NBA prospect. With how dominant UConn has been the past 2 years, essentially cruising through college basketball the last 2 years, how will Clingan perform on an NBA floor, on a team that will most likely be rebuilding and not competitive if he gets drafted as high as some analysts have him? Well, we think Clingan can translate fairly well, although he's more of a traditional big man. In terms of his strengths, he already has NBA-level size. He stands at 7'2", 280 pounds with a 7'7" wingspan. With his size and instincts, he can instantly come into the league and be a productive rebounder on both ends, and be a solid paint presence. He can block shots and defend at the rim at a very high level, and even with his big stature, he moves fairly well for his size, and has the versatility to guard off switches if needed. Clingan also has a good motor. He is shown to rim run pretty effectively and will hustle to pick up some easy transition buckets. He will set solid screens in the NBA, and we all know the NBA loves to utilize the pick and roll. He even has a soft touch near the rim and can get easy buckets as a roll man with his soft touch. His big screens can open up driving lanes for quick guards attacking the basket, which can help a guard score on his own, find Clingan for an easy layup, or open the floor to find a shooter on the wing. And although he doesn't jump out of the gym, he can convert on plenty of lob opportunities in the pick and roll as well. Where Clingan can really shine as a prospect and at the NBA level is if he continues to show his upside as a passer. With bigs like Nikola Jokic and Alperen Şengün being so effective in the passing game, Clingan can improve as a passer, which can help open up the floor for shooters and backdoor cutters. Jokic's ability to do this opens up so much of Denver's offense and is a key part to why they won a championship in 2023. The promising part for Clingan is that he is underrated as a passer and has shown improvement as a passer in his sophomore year. In fact, he tripled his assists per game this season, all while also cutting down on his turnovers. He may not be a great passer yet, but his ability to grow as a passing big can allow him to be more than just a one-dimensional paint protector in a league like the NBA that is constantly evolving and seeing big men show a lot more capabilities. In terms of weaknesses, Clingan is more of a traditional NBA big man. He doesn't have the shooting, ball handling skills, or elite lateral movement that make other players his size special. He's also been a relatively poor free throw shooter, shooting just 55.6% from the line in college. He has shown flashes of a jump shot, but it's still relatively inconsistent. That doesn't mean he can't develop his shot while in the league. Guys like Brook Lopez developed his three-point shot late in his career, and Karl Anthony Towns only attempted 8 three-pointers in his entire career. It's never too late for Clingan to add that to his game, but up to this point, he will be drafted as a player who can come in and protect the rim and rebound, similar to how Rudy Gobert has come out and shown in the NBA. Clingan does run the risk of not fitting into the modern NBA, but there's no denying that he's a very good basketball player who can be an anchor of a top defense. That value is worth a pick in the top 10, and is even worth a pick in the top 5 if scouts believe he can really improve as a passer and even a shooter. Why not take a shot on Clingan, who has room to improve his game even more and should be a highly effective rim protector? He can provide a role for an NBA team right away, and is a safer option in a particularly weaker draft class where there seems to be no surefire superstars. So after hearing all about Donovan Clingan, from his background and development to his stat lines and accolades, and ultimately his NBA draft scouting report, do you think NBA teams should take a chance on Donovan Clingan in the draft? What do you think the ceiling and floor is for Donovan Clingan in the NBA? Let us know in the comments below.